think I got it shared up. Hello, everybody, or anybody that'll be watching in the future, possibly, or whatever. I'm just basically chilling out on a Sunday evening. It's Father's Day, and I'm just relaxing. I called my kids earlier, but my son is just like me. He plays computer games a lot, and he's very smart. And my daughter's really social like me. She likes to hang out and do stuff outside and stuff. So, anyways, the point is, I just made like a little area for if anybody's online and they want to come hang out. This is, I guess, kind of like the pre-gaming, I guess. Just, could talk about anything, video games. You know, I'm kind of into sports, but I'm not. Like, I like watching it sometimes. I'm just not a huge sports fan. I'm more of a huge gamer. That's what I need to do. I need to make like a gaming channel or a gaming space. The only problem is I haven't really invested in any laptops or anything like that. For the most part, I've just been mobile gaming for the last few years. So, that's been going on or whatever. And really recently, just, the economy. I know a lot of people are talking about it, the economy, this and that, but it's strange because a lot of places say they're hiring, but I went out and filled out a few applications and nothing so far. I think I'm going to break down and probably go to like Culver's or because the thing is, I used to I still am a CNA, but I don't really like doing CNA work, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, ugh, at this point. When I was younger, I was more tolerant of a lot of things. But, as a person gets older, sometimes things switch up. And so, at first I was kind of, I don't want to say on the streets because a lot of times when people say on the streets, they mean like a lot of bad stuff. I just mean I left my mom and dad's house and was staying with people for a while. I was going to school here and there. I had a couple children and all this other stuff. But I went to school too. I went to a school out in Bloomington, Harlan Community College for a while. So I really enjoyed it out there in Bloomington because there was a lot of like it was a college town, and so like every Friday or the weekend you'd have all the bars and you'd have downtown and house parties everywhere. I remember years ago when I was like 19, 20, however old, 21, we would go downtown and we would just like hang out with all the different college students. And when I say it was the time of my life, oh my goodness, Bloomington used to be the jam sometimes. But my cousins, they stayed out in Chicago, they still do. And in Chicago, it's like a lot bigger scene. Me personally, I've gotten adapted to a lot of these like smaller towns. I'm not really like a super small town kind of guy. I mean like these smaller tri-cities and whatnot. But Chicago, there's a lot of excitement out there. When I used to go visit my cousins all the time, oh my goodness, it'd be nothing but playing. You know what I'm saying? We hang out all the time, play video games, and then we go out. He lived next to a forest too. And so sometimes we run through the woods and stuff. And I remember when I was younger, I watched a movie called Blair Witch. Oh my goodness, I didn't want to go into the woods no more. It was not fun anymore after that. But I used to go over there. We would play Super Smash Brothers and Pokemon. And there was a game called Conker's Bad Fur Day, and it's still out here, but a lot of people don't know about it. It's retro, and it's that game's brutal. Now I suggest that for more like a little bit older people, you know what I mean, because it's kind of graphic, but it's a pretty cool game. There's some other games that's goated too. Growing up, Super Mario, everybody, of course. You got Super Mario, you got Yoshi and all that. You got Legend of Zelda and Donkey Kong. Two games that I really thought were underappreciated, but as I go out and see a lot of different people talk about it, Diddy Kong Racing and Diddy Kong or Donkey Kong 64. Those two games, pretty soon here, once I'm a little bit better financially off, I'm gonna probably find another Nintendo 64, one of those systems, and I'm gonna get a hold of those games if I can, just for the nostalgia, because Diddy Kong Racing was goated. Uh, she's asleep right now. Give me 1 second. I don't have any money right now. I'm sorry. Have a good day. But no, Donkey Kong 64 and a lot of stuff like that. You know what I mean? All that stuff's goaded. I used to love going around because the thing about as I was growing up, video games were getting better and better. And so when I was really young, you had the 32-bit and whatnot, and you would have the old school. But as time went on, they went up to the 32-bit, and then they had the 64-bit. And then when the open world interfaces came out, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong Racing, Super Mario 64, those games were amazing. I just those were some really awesome games back in the day, and I really appreciate stuff like that. You know what I mean? Those types of games, and then you got all types of games. You got the you got the Sega Genesis. That was dope. You had Sonic the Hedgehog. He was pretty cool, and then you just got a lot of other stuff going on or whatever. So you know what I mean. So yeah. So and then but back to Bloomington. Those were some good times back in the day. Back when I used to stay in Bloomington, it was cause my initial life where I was at in Chicago was really violent. So once we got to Bloomington and all that, and we started living life and doing that. But it was a really cool environment in Bloomington in a sense because, especially when you're a kid, if you don't notice too much, you just kind of like playing with other kids and living life and enjoying stuff. And it was dope. It was all good. It was fun. But the older I get, and the more aware I get, the more I start to find more inner peace in a sense. Like when I was younger, especially in my 20s, I would want to leave all the time and go run, and I would always go to the bar and stuff. And yeah, every once in a while, a little vacation or having some fun doing something, and nothing wrong with that. But what I mean, for the most part, I appreciate being home. I guess you could call me a homebody or an introvert because I enjoy being around other people and I enjoy company. But the only problem is I don't like enjoy too much noise and too much extra stuff going on. It feels kind of, you know. But yeah, life is life. It's fun. I switched to Gatorade because why not? I'm drinking a lot of Mountain Dew and smoking a lot of cigarettes, so I'm going to be cutting that out soon. Both of those activities, I'm gonna switch to more like Gatorades and hopefully kick these out. I'm doing my best to. It's really like mainly the environment because I love my girl. She smokes them a lot, and so then it leads me to smoke them a lot. But I've been trying. I've been quitting them. I quit a few times. The only problem is when you quit smoking, and then other people are around you that smoke. It's like the ultimate like. It feels like you want to smoke them, and so sometimes you really do gotta switch your environment up. Because I feel like I'm not saying she's why I smoke them, but in a world where if she wasn't around smoking them all the time, I'm not saying I don't want her around. I'm just basically saying no why. No, but yeah, what's up? How you doing today? You having a good day, Brody? But yeah, I just been living life, taking it day by day, chilling and hanging out, trying to do what I can, enjoying life, and I'm finna really start looking for jobs more heavy in terms of just random stuff. I'm gonna start filling out more applications, see what's going on with that, and you know what I mean. But yeah, so I just been back to the game, and I wish I could. Funny as hell. How you been doing, bro? I'm glad you well. But no, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you're doing good. I'm doing good too. Just I've been finding myself, you know what I mean? Kind of learning what makes me when I say that I just mean learning what makes me happy, what type of stuff I'm into, maybe comedy, writings, rap, music. I've just been really searching myself. That way, when I do venture out back into the world in terms of like getting a job or something, I know it's the type of job I want. I've really been thinking about writing and stuff. I put my email in my description, so if anybody wants like uh, to email me about like personal writings or poems, my email now is in the description. And if you want anything personal, like if I'm talking to somebody one on one and they need help with something in terms with like religion or something, that's different. That's not. But if I write somebody like a short story or a poem, some cheap like a poem for like couple bucks, 3 4 bucks, short story for maybe like $10, depending on how long the story is, But I got that up in there. Oh, that's what's up. I'm proud of you for that. I've been I spent a long time learning physics and stuff. and not the like in a classroom, but I've been learning a lot of like just about the universe and the nature of things. I did get into biology and sociology and psychology when I was going to school, and I took chemistry and stuff too in college level math. But outside of that, I just been really like that's what I like the internet for. There's information everywhere, and I just for a long time I was learning about light, photons, atoms, atomic molecules, just cellular molecules and stuff like that. I learned Spanish when I was in high school. I got all the way up to Spanish 4 and I was speaking it pretty fluently, but then over time it just kind of it didn't stick with me. I took um I took CSL programming when I was in high school, and or was it high school or junior high? I think no, it was high school. And then I took CSL programming, and then I took a bunch of other computer classes, but I never went past that. I never really took like I never learned like C plus and Python and all that stuff because to me, I feel like it just gets programming isn't fun to me. I'm gonna just be honest. Like when you like actually sit at a computer and program stuff, it's like super boring. I've tried it. I made a few programs. I made a program with a blue interface and a few pictures and stuff. What you're doing is when you program, everything's like ones and zeros, essentially. So when it gets to the higher systems like hex and 8-bit and 16-bit, the only thing you're really doing is just taking those ones and zeros and creating a code with it. So if like the letter L on a keyboard was like 1101010 whatever, then instead of that, there would be a number or a registry leading to that hexadecimal system. And so then even like if you when you type on a computer, there's a mainframe and a registry and all that on the inside. And when you type a L, it's sending a bunch of signals, ones and zeros, and it's like Morse code but for computers. And then the symbol L pops up. And what you're really even just seeing is the pixels on that screen fill in with the data that it's just received. It's that's a super simple way of doing it. The military had like a lot to do with computing. I explained that in my videos. There's been computers for a long time since the 1800s. They were basically just ons and offs and vacuums at first. That's what anything is. It's just sending signals to other things. So maybe there's a cell in my brain that sends a signal to a cell in my hand and then it moves. It's a signal. That's it. I'm not saying that's it in terms as we're not valuable. That's badass, bro. I'll be thinking about, everybody's like, I want to be an astronaut or something like that, but I learned about the living conditions for astronauts and how gravity affects the body when there is no gravity. Oh my goodness. It's a hardcore life to live, dude. It's extremely hard. Especially, I read a story that these men went into space, and when they did twins, one stayed home and one went into space, and the one that went into space had a whole bunch of different things going on with the body, like the organs and stuff. And one of the things was the circulatory system. The blood goes down and then it pumps up because of gravity. And when you don't have that gravity, it's just like a bunch of complicated things going on in the cellular body. That's another thing too. Speaking of cellular bodies, people talk about cryogenically freezing people a lot and stuff. While I'm no scientist, I'm just telling you based on the knowledge and data that I do know. It seems like when stuff is frozen, it can't be preserved. The cells die. They're not oxygenated, and then what ends up happening is because a lot of the movement happens through ATP, and what ATP does is it takes oxygens into an electron it takes oxygen molecules and it goes through an electron chain system or something like that. And then what it does is it separates the energy, and when the energy is separated, the it goes into the cells and energizes it. Oh shit, I don't even know, bro. That's like that's some other stuff. But for the most part, all I can ever really do is talk about on civilian stuff. I was never really in anything like that. I tried to join once, but they were like, they told me I was too because what had ended up happening was, I guess the time when I was going, you had to have graduated high school because it was something like it was all the way after the year 2000 and stuff. Because when I was younger, they recruited everybody. But once I tried to go and join the military, they was like, you need, because I dropped out of high school and got my GED. Well, when I dropped out of high school and got my GED, they told me in order to get into the military at that point, yeah, they told me I had to get my I had to get my college level classes in order to get in there because they felt like the military is like upgrading. They don't want no. You got to be. They're changing and they're not as violent as they used to be either. I've heard stories they don't like back in that day when they was military, but now it's a lot different. You can't even hardly put your hands, which is good, but it's a lot different now. But I'm not advocating for them or anything. I'm just basically telling people what I know. I'm not shit. Now looking back on it, I probably wouldn't join the military at all ever because what the. But I'm not accusing anybody. That's it. See that I'm just rambling. Who am I to tell you what to do anyway? So I'm just basically saying like maybe another profession besides the military for anybody that's fresh in the world or anything like that. I'm not just because it's good to have protection over the country, but it seems like a lot of institutions that exist just prefer a certain type of lifestyle, and so I just stay out of the way. They call it being set apart. Because I could spend my whole life. The older I get, and the more videos I make, I'm starting to notice I could spend my whole life like fighting, yeah, fight the man, fight the. But in a world where I don't have to, I'm just gonna. It's best to live my life. Like, what's even the point? What am I gonna do? Like, go. You look at all these riots and stuff. They're in jail. You look at all these people that are on January 6th. They're in jail. It's like it's not like how it used to be because civilization is so advanced with technology and power that people are just basically hurting themselves. Like you see people back in the day when it was about like conformity and sticking together, somebody be like, oh, this happened to him, that happened to them. Yeah, we're going to stick together. Nowadays, something happens, you're in there by yourself. There's no, maybe if you got some friends and family that like you and if you're rich, but that's what I'm telling people. It's just basically like, while we do got freedoms and stuff, yeah, probably. In all honesty, because I mean, to be honest, after learning about what they did to some of the African Americans in this country in terms of military and experiments and all that other stuff, especially during World War II and One, I heard the African American fighter pilots that they sent first. I forget what their name is. But it was an all African American battalion, and we won basically a lot of wars because of our resilience or perseverance and stuff. But no matter what does happen, I will persevere. I wanted to give a little phrase from my heart to everybody that's listening. It's just a simple phrase, a couple phrases, and it goes like this: I am gracious, I will not bow. But if I will to bow, then I will. Because when I will comes first, then you will what you will do. But I'm just basically telling people that because one, if you don't put I am gracious first, you might will to do whatever. And two, or grace, I am gracious, I am grace, whatever. And then two, if you don't put if you put I will not bow, then you're basically doing your will. You have a will now. But at the same time, remember with I will not bow, you're not saying that you won't bow because I mean, if somebody comes up to you and shows you like people in those cultures, I do that all the time and I bow to many people. It's basically saying I willed to bow. Somebody didn't come force me to. Real respect comes from the hearts. And so when we start to show each other respect and kindness and love and it'll start to manifest into something more beautiful. We'll start to want to hang out with each other more. We'll start to want to love each other more. Fences will maybe come down and we can have one big ass black backyard on the whole block. Could you imagine a backyard where there's no fences on like 10 rows of houses and each neighbor all knows each other and we're like a big family, and then we all have like one has a trampoline, one has a pool, but safe for all the kids on the block, so whatever, you know what I'm saying? I mean, extremely safe. Maybe a float up pool that, you know what I mean? One has a basketball court, one has a trampoline, and the whole block would be like this rare condition, this in place. I don't know the lyrics, but this family matters. You know what I mean? When I look at life with the type of technology and stuff that we have and the type of comfort we should have, people shouldn't still be poor and stuff like that and living in terrible conditions. Ooh, I thought I saw a bug. Scared of my own shadow. Yeah, I've been drinking a lot of water too. I got my water here because Mountain Dew, like it seems like too much sugar and stuff counteracting with just everything, and especially with sugar. It's like, well, it start to, you know what I mean? So I gotta be careful, speak life into existence, start to follow that life and not just expect it. So faith without. I'm just like, oh, I don't need to speak on anything like that. What I'm basically saying is, as long as I Do what I need. Oh, gallon. Hey, you know what you just you know what you just reminded me of? When I used to play World of Warcraft, there was a battle axe. I forget what the name of it was. And whenever you activate the skill on the battle axe, it goes Yark. It was the funniest shit ever. But no, yeah, it's nice outside too. The house is freezing cold. It's freezing in there. Every time I go in there, she's like, "Oh, I'm getting hot. Turn it back to cold." It's like, "Oh my goodness, it's freezing." A gallon. Shit. Speaking of a gallon, my lawnmower ran out of gas the other day, and I had to go all the way to the gas station and get a couple gallons. But my car too, my freaking car. I just spent 3 grand to get this car fixed at the beginning of the year. Then the car broke down again, and when I found out they spent 2 grand in labor and it only cost 1,100 to get fixed, Bob Brady. Then after that, what made it even worse, it broke down again. So it was running, it was going click, 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 and it was running and stuff. They told me 2 grand, so I said no, send the car back. It's only been 2 months, no way. Then when they brought it back, it was on something called do not start or something like that list. And when I started it, it went just start for a second and cut off. They not only made it worse, they just it's like, bro, okay. That's what I'll be saying. It's like no matter how hard you try, and when I say this, this isn't pessimism. Sometimes life is just going to suck. But no matter what words you use, what all philosophy, religion, whatever, which is all beautiful, whatever. What I'm saying is, no matter what, as long as you are patient and give it time, you will be to another spot where you're not feeling the same way you were before. Even if you're in the same spot, but time has passed, and now you've learned to overcome some of your old things, and now these new things are giving you strength, if that makes sense. Yeah, bro, it's that's why I came out. That's why I came out. Yeah, be careful with certain names too. I don't want nobody to. I don't want no. I'm not a lawyer, but we live in a we live in a world where a whole bunch of people play with laws. So no, yeah, but I feel you, man. I I've been drinking a lot of water, like you said, and whatnot, and but yeah, but that's why I come out during like as the sun's coming down because when it's really hot. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about earlier. Um, I was talking about Donkey Kong 64 and Diddy Kong 64, and I was saying how basically those are the two goated games. And now that I look back on it, Nintendo Super Mario 64 was cool and Mario Kart, but ultimately I think Donkey Kong 64 had the most adventure involved. It had the most randomness. You could be the different Kongs. Super Mario 64, you couldn't even really be Luigi. I can't even remember if Luigi. I think there was like a spot or two where Luigi was at, but I don't even remember Luigi in Super Mario 64. Um, but on Donkey Kong, you got to be all the different Kongs. You got to unlock their skills and abilities, and that castle was scary as shit. I love that castle. Yeah, 64 and GameCube. Because what's crazy is when Super Smash Brothers was out, that game was dope. Super Smash Brothers was legit. I remember as a young teen, I can't remember if I was even a teenager yet, but when that game was out, me and my brothers and sisters would all play. I would be Mario every time, and there. But as I got older, and then GameCube came out, bro. Oh my goodness, GameCube was awesome. That GameCube was legit. Cause Super Smash Brothers on GameCube Melee was awesome. Shit, that's what's up. That's a lot of fucking money, bro. I need to start investing, but I don't really have any financial. I don't want to say financial intellect. It's just I don't have the will for it. When it comes to money, like in my mind, I'm an old school. You go and do a labor or you go and do a skill and they pay you depending on how good you are for it. In this day and age, you gotta have businesses and licensings and you gotta know you gotta know all these people in the state and stuff. And it's like I'm not learning all these laws and doing all I mean anybody if you got, whatever, teach their own, but it's not a part of my will if that makes sense. I don't think, oh, I'm finna go look at the stock market. I don't think, oh, I'm finna go look at the, what's it called? The NASDAQ, whatever it's called. For me personally, I just would rather I'm more of like a puzzle solver. an intellectual. I like to figure things out and solve riddles and transliterate stuff and learn stuff. Because I can read something on a page and there could be a whole nother message within what I just read. A lot of people won't even see. And that's not even just from transliterating. That's from if I read the purple car has green tires. Now I can go into a whole nother world in my mind, just imagination, and just come up with a whole bunch of purple metaphors and green metaphors about stuff around to describe that purple car and green tires. Nothing more, nothing less. You know what I mean? Oh, Yoshi's Island, dude, that game. See, you talking about if you talking about I think it's called Super Mario 3 Yoshi's Island where he was unlocking the different color Yoshis. That game was dope. Yeah, that was one of my favorite games on Super Nintendo. That and Super Street Fighter 2. I just actually uploaded a video with Super Street Fighter 2. Uh, but yeah, I used to love getting the I can't remember if it was the blue Yoshis. The blue Yoshi, if they had a shell in their mouth, they would fly across the whole board and all that. And then the red Yoshis, they shot out fireballs, but you had to have a bunch of them. You have to just eat shells over and over and over again. It's like, come on, man, I'm tired of eating shells, bro. Shells and cheese, shells and cheese. No, but yeah, these birds are out here chirping. With all these trees by my house and the birds chirping, it reminds me of when I was younger. We went to as a kid. Oh, it's in Springfield. What's it called? It's that big park, the wildlife park. Something I think it's Wildlife Prairie Park. And when I went to Wildlife Prairie Park, oh my goodness, there was animals everywhere, and it was huge, and they had big slides, and that's the stuff I be remembering about. Is just like, or like when I was younger and we would play in the play places at McDonald's in the little tubes and stuff. It's just it's all fun. But that's what I mean. Like right now, what I'm doing, reminiscing and having nostalgia. If a person would just sit back and think about all the good things in life, and I know negative things may come to your mind and stuff, but that's the journey. That's what being strong. Sometimes it ain't about fighting it. Like if I get a negative, it ain't about, oh, I had this, I need to fight. It's like, listen, just understand what's for me and what's not for me. I'm looking at what's real, and if something's come to my mind that's just like I could talk about aliens and stuff in my mind, like okay, aliens and this and that. But if I do that, if I'm doing that to like then go and be like aliens for real and running around, no, that's like that's an imagination. So now I think there's biology everywhere and there's life everywhere possibly, and so one day we may come into contact with it. So if you know what I'm saying, it's just basic life advice. You know what I mean? Like the imagination's cool, but we can turn it into a lake of fire called a pool. And so that's what I'm trying to help people of. That's what I'm trying to help people with. So like keep from harming themselves in the mind, because the mind manifests everything, and after you do it in the mind, then possibly it happens in life. That's why I'm trying to cleanse the mind for myself and others, for anybody that watches, and and hang out. That's why with my videos, possibly if anybody wants to come hang out and chat, just need you. If anybody wants to hang out and chat and just I took careers and skills in customer service at 29. Food handlers, that's good. That's what's up. So I'm proud of you. See, and basically all that stuff right there is a beautiful thing. Mm, that's beautiful. And everybody's got their own thing in life. Maybe somebody's a plumber. Maybe somebody's a lawyer. Maybe somebody's a judge or a roofer. You know what I'm saying? I hear a lot of people. They'll say a lot like, "I hate my job. I want a new job, and I'm sick and tired of it." That reminds me of when I was years ago. I was living in Bloomington, and then I went to go stay with my sister in Arizona for a while. And I was on my way, and I'm like, "Oh yes, I'm ready," and got there and was miserable because nothing changed but the environment. It was me that needed clean. It was me that was upset, and so that's why you gotta just all in all, you gotta really just live life and find, because people be like, find yourself a new career. No, you don't gotta like, if you need a new career, if you need stuff that's for you, whatever, do what you have to do to survive. But what I'm saying is basically sometimes everything that we have is fine, and we're the ones that may be freaking out, or we're the ones that may be. There's times that I could be sitting in the house and it's just I could get so bored or something like that. I just go for a walk around the block, and then going up for a walk, maybe doing some push-ups, some exercises, I feel much better. I'm telling you, I do. And that's, sometimes physical. That's why I admire people who work. I worked in factories for years, and when I was working in them factories, basically it's you working with your hands. So by the time you do get off and stuff, it's relaxing. You could get home, wind down. Now, now there's an excuse for you to be like a bum for 4 or 5 hours, unless you got house chores or whatever. But I don't know anybody's living situation. I'm just saying now, if I was to just do this all day, I mean, and of course, people are having trouble finding jobs. Me myself, so I'm a living testimony. Finding a job can be hard sometimes. Even finding a job that's right for you, because you could be a perfectly normal person and go get a job, and either the job doesn't want you, it's not a good job for you, or it just doesn't fit. So, finding what's for you, because then when you do get off from work and you get to relax and just slouch, that's the excuse right there. You could watch some TV, mindlessly zone out, and watch the TV, or if you want to think for 2 hours or create something on YouTube, that's the beauty of life. Yep. If you enjoy what you do, shout out. NG. If you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. If you don't enjoy it, enough money there ain't enough money to keep you there, and that's true. And so that's really why I don't. Within these last couple weeks to a month, I know I got bills and stuff due, which my girlfriend's like a rock. That's another thing I want to tell people: the journey is not always alone. My girlfriend and my family have been a rock to me, and so I'm just really looking for what I need to do and look at what's for me, because I've worked in factories and it's cool and all, but sometimes it's some of the physical labor in this day and age feels like an ancient Egyptian building a pyramid. They want you to work for all these hours. You get a 15-minute break. It's like, man, I just push boxes for 4 hours. Can I get a regular break or something like that? So give me 1 second. Actually, I got my. Okay, sorry about that. No matter what job that I do, when I get off from work, when I was working, yeah, I hear that. That's true. And a lot of times, and I don't know what anybody's personal preferences are, but a lot of times when you do find somebody that's for you, the world may tell you they're not the right one, or they're not the right religion or race or whatever that stuff. That, if they're right for you, enjoy what you have. I'm telling you, because it is hard finding somebody that's right for you sometimes. And the point is, when you do have something that's good, you don't always gotta do what everybody else tells you to do. Yeah, the Assassin's Creed. I remember them games back in the day. I got to get me a system. My stepdaughter's got I think she's got a 360 and a series, S series. But I've been thinking about getting the Xbox S series. But the only problem is I want to get financially stable first. I've really been trying to find maybe different platforms or streamers that are into short stories or novels, and then what I'll do is maybe possibly sell some stories and stuff, because I don't like writing. I like writing short stories, like short, because for me, a lot of people can't read whole books. My problem when I read a book is that's wonderful. See, that's beautiful right there. That's a family coming together to be beautiful. I love that. Shout out Scott. But um, in terms of speaking of family, take a second for family. Family's beautiful. If you do got, sometimes family might get on your nerves, but just sometimes you gotta be set apart, and sometimes you gotta be like a magnet. You just gotta. But the thing is about profession. I want to find somebody that's into like short stories or short, because when I read books, a lot of times my problem is when I read a book. Oh, thank you, straight up. I appreciate that. And to me, I'm gonna say something bold right now. Happy Father's Day to everybody, but to me, everybody is a father that watches over and protect kids. To me, my brother Charlie is like a father to my kids when I'm away. My dad's like a father to them when I'm, because with them being my mom, and dad all the time. Family's a beautiful thing, and when you got family, cherish it and love it. Protect them with all your heart. You know what I mean? So, sometimes love means not cutting them off, but like if somebody's constantly begging for money or financially. My mom at one point had to tell me like, "All right, son, it's time to find a job and go to school and all that stuff." My dad had to kick me out when I was younger because I was running around acting a fool. But that's the journey in life, learning and learning how to build. Because a lot of times, what you'll see in the world. Oh, back to reading. Um, a lot of times when I'm reading a whole book, the problem is storing all that information at once. And it's not a problem, it just gets boring. Like a teacher will be like, read this and that for science, read this and that, okay. That's a science homework. I have to do that. Or an assignment. But in terms of like people be like, I read books and I love books. My problem with reading a book is that I'm only gonna read so much at a time. And then when I stop reading it and go do stuff and come back to it, I'm not gonna feel the same way about the book. There's gonna be a whole it's just like that's why I like movies, because I can sit through them. But short stories and poems, what really gets me, and this might sound weird, but what excites me the most is short stories and poems, because they can be scary, they can be tricky, they can be like a mind freak, they can be like little thing. Back in the Middle Ages, I think they were called nursery rhymes, and they were kind of freaking dark actually. The old ones like Ashes to Ashes and all those other ones. Oh my goodness. But like that's why I write a lot of poems. There's one I just wrote called uh talking about the barn, and he was threshing wheat in the barn and he saw some red wine that looked like yarn. Just little poems and stuff, because what it does is when you read it, oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. That is what's up. But when when they got fireworks going off, I could hear them. I really like fireworks during the 4th of July, but sometimes, oh, and everybody make sure to give a like and subscribe if you can, if you want to. I'm not forcing you to, but oh, what was I finna say? Back to ultimately reading. When it's shorter stories and shorter poems and stuff, it's easier to, because when you read the shorter poems, you're creating a world right then and there. If I create a scene with like a park and trees and all that stuff, perhaps you start to think about it. Now your ego is walking through that scene I just created. Well, then while you're in that scene, I give more words and writings, and then you start to walk through the environment, so to speak, a whole world created with words. And so that's why I like shorter stories and poems, because it's more feelings attached, it's more excitement involved. If I write a whole story, there's like a whole plot and all this other stuff, which is fine. But when it's something sweet and to the point, it's easier to ingest and it leaves more of an imprint. Now, if I just think of it like Psalms, I could read 2 or 3 Psalms and now I got those words in my heart. But if I go read every Psalm that was ever written at once, my brain's gonna be like, ah, you know what I'm saying? It's just simple stuff. So, a gallon. No, but yeah, yeah, that reminds me of that that reminds me of one of the scriptures in Samson where he ripped apart the lion and then he took the honey. It reminds me of what I was doing to Judaism for for a while because they was acting a nut. When I say that, I'm just talking about in my videos. So it is getting kind of dark too. It's getting kind of warm. I'd be wanting to be on stream for like 6 or 7 or like these streamers do, but I think they might be AI or something. Cause what the, I mean, I could sit somewhere for 5 or 6 hours, but my goodness, it's almost like a job. Like they're being paid by somebody and being hosted and publicized to do a certain specific thing for a purpose. You know what I mean? So yeah. Oh, what up, NG? Yeah, blood is thicker than water, but honey, is thicker than blood. I mean, that may be true or not. I'll take your word for it, cause blood's got a once blood absorbs a lot of air, then it you know oxygenates. That's even with certain words. Like that's what I like to play with words, and I like to create. This all type of stuff. I just because I feel like that's how creations start. We create, we play, I feel like only with a truly, I don't want to say a childlike mind because it's a duo. You have to have the awareness of an adult to know when creating something destructive or wrong. But at the same time, you have to have a childlike quality so that you can have the innocence to create, so that you can be unaffected enough to create. You look at children, that's why they're not like racist, they're not bad. They're not, even if a child is doing too much, from their perspective, they're not doing any wrong because they don't have the awareness to know that it's wrong yet. And so you have to have the awareness of pain and all that other stuff, of course, but then you have to have a childlike creativity in the sense that you can create without being um, without being influenced by outside sources. Yeah, another thing about crystals, snowflakes and whatnot, that's the uniqueness of the earth. They say no two snowflakes will ever be alike. Although I've never seen 50 quadrillion billion snowflakes formulate, but I'll take their word for it. But yeah, the whole system is amazing. The whole everything. I I, I think that's why, like, when I say I'm an alchemist, take it how you will, but I like to refine everything. Somebody could come in the room angry as shit at me, and I'm not asking people to come in the room angry at me like in real life. I'm saying, like, but if they do, I try to fix the situation. I don't try to like raw war. But in a sense, you could say I am a warrior because I'm battling something to help that other person feel better. And I try to tell people, when people come up to you, if people ever come up to you and question you about certain things, like if they say, "Is this real or is that real or what do you believe?" Or especially in like a lot of religions, they'll say, "Do you believe in this?" Like the thing is, you got to remind them that only who I am knows what's for me. So even if you want me to explain something or say if it's real or not, I'm wasting my time if you're not willing to understand or listen. You see what I'm saying? Because like I've watched a lot of Speaker's Corner, and I think Speaker's Corner is kind of funny. It just is, especially like there's a couple of ones. And when I say these names, I'm not hating on them. I think his name's Ali Dawa, Muhammad Hijab, and like David Wood and Sarah and different ones of them. They just go, and Mansoor and all them. There was another one too. What's his name? He's like he's Muslim. I think his name is he's Muslim, but he's Europe. He's like European. He's Hamza or something like that. And then there's another guy who's like really Jewish, and he's like European, but he's always out there. And they give me the most funniest form of entertainment sometimes, because they just be going back and forth, and it's not like violent like in the ancient days. And now it's just like they're intellectualizing. They're learning from each other and using their words and their pens and not their swords, if that makes sense. So there's comedy everywhere. There's enjoyment everywhere. I could be like, I never want religion again and I hate it all. But if I do that, then there's so much fun out here that I could be missing. Or I could be like, oh, I'm only religious and everybody else a lie. But then if you do that, you're missing out on all the souls you're supposed to be harvesting. You see what I'm saying? It's about diverse singularity. Once we can all accept ourselves for who we are, in a manner that's not harmful to society, if you will. And then once we allow others to be themselves as well, then what ends up happening is we can all be healthy and we can all be healed. The family bond you're born into is stronger than a complete stranger, but the family you choose is sweeter than that you're is sweeter than that you're born in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause like I'm gonna give you an example. That's even if you pay attention to that. At first we got our mother and father. Then as we get older, some choose to stay with them, which is nothing wrong. Some choose to leave, nothing wrong. So if you choose to leave and you do get something, here's the only thing. I know people may need help from family, but if you're getting older and you're like still living with your parents and you're like bringing in like a wife or a girlfriend or something like that, I'm not like, because even me, I'm staying. This isn't my mom's house, but it's like a property that somebody of hers knows, and I'm paying rent. But I had to get out of my parents' house because first I had kids, and then when I was with my girl, and then I have another girl now. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Once you cleave into your new life, that's like your new bond. And so even if you look at your parents, they're both bone and blood and whatever, but to them they're not bone and blood. They came together to make bone and blood. So it's just an eternal cycle of accepting newness into the family. And even when I get kind of upset when I hear people screaming Jesus and Israel still. And when I say that, I'm not, because when I say screaming Jesus and Israel, what I mean is like they'll be like, you're gonna bow or you're gonna go to. There's a lot of people still using that hell stuff. They're like, you're gonna go to hell and all that, and it just bothers me because there are so many people that are tormented by that. They have to go to psychology and have to deal with doctors and they won't. In a world where I have two options, I have free will, and now I have something in my right hand, a word or a God or something, whatever. And in that right hand, that God is whatever. And then in my left hand, I can do whatever I want because I have free will. Now, why would I take that God and then go do the will of burn, burn, hell, come? Why wouldn't I want to spread His love and His peace and His happiness and His, you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, it's just like, it's like an anomaly of people wanting to cause pain and harm. And it's like, don't do that. Like, yeah, I know people are afraid and they think they're doing the will of some, like, I don't know, but when I try to tell people love each other, help each other, give each other friendship. Even a lot of places I work at, man, the way people treat certain people, it's like, oh my goodness. But like I said, unless I go become a pharaoh and chain them and make them do something, then free will is the king, and all I can really do is sit back and give advice and stuff. Because there's been many situations where I try to put in my 2 cents, where either I've been around couples fighting, man and woman screaming and hollering or doing all this other stuff. One, like, if I'm able to and a man's just like hitting on a woman, me personally, it's not gonna happen. No, I'm gonna step in the middle or stop it or whatever. But like for verbal or a man acting like he's gonna get mad, starting punching walls and stuff. Well, I tell people like I've stepped in a couple times, like, and then what do they do? Get ready, get the fuck out of my business and leave me the fuck alone. You don't know shh. And then there's a couple times I would try to help her say, hey, I'm gonna call the law or something because the woman's about to get destroyed, and she'll look at me and be like, mind your fucking business. Why are you still here? And dude, it's like, what the? So as much as you want to help people, sometimes what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just gotta sit back and do what you gotta do. But at the same time, like I said, if I have the ability to bind somebody and keep them from hurting somebody, I will, because that's ultimately me. Like, I'm a defender, a protector. Uh, Man, I'm getting so dark on the screen, you can't see my eyes no more. Eyes black like wine. But no, yeah, I just want to get on for a little bit and talk to all my beautiful people. Let all people who I am see me too. So when I say that, you say that I'm your beautiful people, and I say you're my beautiful people, and we're all one. One, two, three. Let's make 10. Hell, let's make a bunch. When I just lifted my arm in the air, I didn't see this hand, but I saw the shadow, and so I was like, oh, something's creeping behind me. I've been jumping at my shadow lately. I don't know, not like out of fear, like out of like if you startle a rabbit or something. I was like, ah. But no, I don't know. But yeah, it's getting kind of hot out here, so I've had fun talking to everybody. Spread the peace and love and blessings, and I hope everybody do good. I hope everybody have a happy Father's Day. Stay gaming. I've been playing a lot of Street Fighter. I'm gonna get back into Pokemon while I got free time. I'm still filling out applications, but um, and if anybody sees my videos, and like I said, my email is in my description up there. I've also got my Cash App in there. If anybody feels gracious and wants to donate anything, I've got, if they want stories or anything, they can message me and ask for anything like that. And yeah, so just stay blessed, and I hope you all stay wonderful. And like I said, anything type of spiritual, anything like that, that's free. That's not, if somebody feels tormented or need help and guidance or something, that's free. The poems and stuff or the stories, that's whatever. I'm gonna keep writing stories, but the extra stuff, like if you want something personal for you, then we could discuss it in the emails or whatever. So stay blessed. I hope to gain more people in the future. I'm confident I will have millions and millions and billions of subscribers, and I'm confident all will come together and we will all be great and all will return to the source.